Can the 49ers finally get over the hump this season? The NFL is cyclical in nature. Few teams manage to stay in the contender conversation for several years running. The 49ers have done just that in recent times. San Francisco has made it to the playoffs 3 years in a row, and 4 of the last 6 seasons. Each time the club has reached the postseason over that span, they've made it to at least the NFC Championship game. They've advanced to the Super Bowl twice, coming up short both times. Last season came to an end with an absolutely excruciating loss to the Kansas City Chiefs in overtime at the big game. The 49ers are headed to another season being viewed as one of the top favorites to win it all. While there's no denying that this team is loaded with talent, questions still linger. At the top of the list is this one. Can the 49ers finally get over the hump this season? Before we get into all of that, take a second to like this video. Hit the subscribe button as it really helps the channel. We'll keep you in the loop on the 49ers and the rest of the league throughout the preseason and beyond. The 49ers closed last season at 12-5, winning the NFC West for the second straight season. It wasn't all smooth sailing. After opening the campaign on a dominant 5-0 run, San Francisco hit a rough patch and dropped 3 straight. That brought them into a Week 9 bye at 5-3. Still in solid shape, but with some eyebrows raised over the losing streak. After some time off, San Francisco answered the bell. They ripped off a 5-game winning streak en route to closing up the campaign at 12-5 and as the top seed in the NFC side of the bracket. That gave them a bye through round 1. First up was a visit from the Packers in the divisional round, a club that was fresh off of a massive upset over the Cowboys. Green Bay came to play once again. Heading into the final quarter, the 49ers were down 21-14. A Jake Moody field goal and a Christian McCaffrey TD run later, San Francisco escaped with a 24-21 victory. The reward was a home date with the Detroit Lions for the NFC title game. Once again, San Francisco found itself in the uncomfortable position of having to rally to keep their season alive. The Lions controlled the first half in convincing fashion, walking into halftime with a commanding 24-7 lead. The 49ers responded in a big way in the third quarter, tying the game up at 24 apiece to head into a decisive final frame. San Francisco's momentum carried into the fourth quarter. They took a 10-point lead, with the Lions closing the gap in the final minute with a Jared Goff to Jameson Williams TD toss. The 49ers held on for a 34-31 win. After surviving a pair of too close-for-comfort postseason scares, the 49ers advanced to Super Bowl 58 versus the Kansas City Chiefs. It was a rematch from the 2019 big game, which was won by the Chiefs by a score of 31-20. Kansas City had its own challenges last regular season before finally getting it together. They closed at 11-6 and continued their stranglehold on the AFC West, winning the division for the 8th consecutive season. They took care of the Miami Dolphins at home in the playoff opener, a game that was contested in near Arctic-like conditions. Kansas City had to hit the road from there, taking down the Buffalo Bills and Baltimore Ravens to return to the Super Bowl. The Chiefs are another franchise that has maintained a presence in the upper echelon of the league for several years running. The club has punched a postseason ticket for 9 straight seasons. They've made it to at least the AFC title tilt 6 straight times, snatching 3 Lombardi trophies over that span. The point spread suggested that a tight game was on tap for the Super Bowl between these two powerhouse teams at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. That's exactly what we got. The 49ers walked onto the field as a slight 1.5-point favorite. They took an early 10-0 lead, but the Chiefs wrestled control of the game to head into the third quarter up 13-10. The tightness of the game continued into the final frame. At the end of regulation, it was all knotted up 19-19. San Francisco struck first with a Jake Moody field goal to go up 22-19. Facing a do-or-die situation, Patrick Mahomes led a 13-play, 75-yard drive that was capped off with a TD toss to Mecole Hardman Jr. As the confetti fell, the Chiefs celebrated another big game win, while the 49ers were left to deal with another crushing loss that ended the season. The offseason of questions is coming to a close. The 49ers made some shifts to the coaching staff, including bumping up Nick Sorensen to defensive coordinator, replacing Steve Wilks. The defense was stout a season ago, ranking 3rd in the league in points on turnovers allowed per game at 17.5. Sorensen has been part of the 49ers staff since 2022. If we can assume that the transition will be a smooth one, San Francisco should once again boast one of the league's top defenses. At the NFL Draft, the club had 8 picks in total. Wide receiver Ricky Pearsall, out of Florida, was the headline selection in round 1, followed by cornerback Renardo Green from Florida State in the second. The 49ers bolstered depth the rest of the way, including the selection of 2 offensive linemen. During free agency, headline additions included veteran pass rusher Leonard Floyd. Sam Darnold is off to Minnesota, leaving Joshua Dobbs and Brandon Allen to battle for the backup job behind Brock Purdy. The 49ers were also third in the league in average points scored per game at 28.9. Minor offseason changes aside, this remains one of the most balanced teams in the NFL. Purdy is back to lead the way under center. He had an efficient year 2 of his pro career, completing 69.4% of his passes for 4,280 yards, 31 TDs, and 11 interceptions. Christian McCaffrey remains the engine that makes the offense go. Last season's NFL Offensive Player of the Year, and now heading into his 9th season, McCaffrey has shown no signs of slowing down. In the passing game, there's an embarrassment of riches, including Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, and George Kittle. However, the highly productive band could be close to losing a member. There have been a number of off-season rumblings about Ayuk looking to move on to greener pastures via trade. We'll see what develops on that front, but it'll essentially be the next man up if he moves along. Jawan Jennings could see an increased role, and the team will see what rookie wideout Pearsall brings to the table over the preseason. On the defense, Floyd joins a unit that boasts standouts such as Nick Bosa, Dre Greenlaw, and Fred Warner. It's unclear how much new defensive coordinator Sorensen will be altering the scheme, but he certainly has plenty to work with. Preseason expectations for the 49ers are once again sky high, and their early odds to win the Super Bowl, San Francisco is one of the top 2 favorites along with the Chiefs. They're the favorites to win both the NFC West and the conference as a whole. The odds suggest that the Lions, Eagles, Packers, and Cowboys are the biggest threats to block their path to the big game. San Francisco will square off with the Cowboys, Packers, and Lions during the regular season. There are a number of other challenging dates throughout the 17-game campaign. San Francisco opens at home under the bright Monday Night Football lights against the New York Jets, a team that's receiving a ton of off-season hype. In Week 7, it's a big game rematch as the Chiefs are coming to town. Following a Week 9 bye, the 49ers close with 5 of their final 9 games on the road. Barring a rash of injuries to key cogs or a sudden downturn on one or both sides of the ball, San Francisco appears poised to be a serious contender once again. But can they finally get it all together and win the elusive Super Bowl? Naturally, we'll have to wait and see. NFL lore is riddled with teams that could simply never break through and win it all in spite of immense talent, squads such as the prolific Buffalo Bills teams of the early 90s. San Francisco heads into the new season with a clear mission and a chance to give this run of success the happy ending that fans, players, and everyone in the franchise have been waiting for, the addition of a 6th Lombardi trophy to the case. We'll start to get some answers when the games that matter kick off in NFL Week 1.